Welcome to the Green Building Show, where we investigate green design and building trends throughout Australia.
Why should you consider a project home builder? That's the question we put to Steve Condliffe from Gardner Homes in North Sydney. He explains who's the ideal candidate for a project home build and how much potentially it could save. And later, we talk to the designer behind a home that's energy use is 2/3 less than the Australian average.
There's four main sort of processes you can sort of go through within that. Initially you want to, for the client before they start the process, is have an understanding of what budget they want to work within, because that will determine where they sort of fit within the different prospects of that. So if they know what budget they're going to feel comfortable with spending, then it's a matter of then working out which one is going to best suit their particular requirements. So you've got your main traditional method for people they deem to be as having an architect, and then you're going off and you're trying to find a builder. When you go through that process, you carry the design risks for it. An architect will draw whatever you want to draw, and they get paid regardless. So they're happy to draw a 4 or 5 bedroom home, and you won't have any sort of control aspect over the actual budget constraints of that, until you actually go later on further down the stage where you've spent all this money on getting your plans done, all your structural drawings and your DA. So you've already spent probably in the vicinity of sort of $20,000 plus a lot of emotional energy, and then going through the DA process of that could potentially be 3 months to find out at the other end of it that their budget doesn't match what's actually been drawn. So you've got no control over that process. If someone was going to look to do that, you'd almost want to get a team together. You'd want to get your architect and your builder and your planner all working together to be able to do that. So you would have people that you trust, that everyone's on the same page and know what the money is going to be, and then you would have your builder would be liaising with your architect and your planner, so everyone's working together to get a positive outcome. Because so many times it does happen, people have plans drawn, they go through the DA process, and they end up going in the bin, and it's a really sad situation because they've never been advised financially how it's all going to come together, because the architect does his plans, and that's what he does. He doesn't build a home, he doesn't know the cost constraints of it. A company like ourselves, we're able to keep everything in-house, so we're able to actually control that whole process for you. So we have an architect, we have a planner that works with us, and we are obviously the builders ourselves, so we all know, we're all on the same page in relation to, we know this is the money that the client wants to spend, this is what they want to achieve, and this is, and so we can make sure that the project's going to be on budget, it's going to get through council, and it's actually going to happen. And a lot of the time we're able to give people, it depends on where they fall into the market, everyone's needs is different. So if they want a most economic home, then we can work with them with a pre-engineered home, pre-designed home, and then we're able to work with them to actually help them find a block that's actually going to suit that home, so they know the cost structure of that house. Then it's a matter of finding a block of land that's going to fit within their total overall budget. It very much depends on the block. If you're looking to, if you've got an existing block and you're trying to make a plan work with it, you're going to have to make compromises. You're not going to have the rooms in the right place. The windows aren't going to be in the right place. So you're having to make significant compromises to achieve it. And so that's, if you've already got a block of land, then you really need to find a plan that's going to best suit it, or customise a plan that's actually going to make it work for you. Otherwise, in this area, the area that we build, unfortunately, it's about 2/3 of the overall value of the whole value of the land in the home. So it's really important. The land purchase needs to be really well considered before they purchase it, because they're paying their stamp duty. They're paying, the worst case scenario is someone goes out and buys a piece of land, they don't have a full understanding of the implications of building on it, and then they pay their stamp duty, then they find out I can't build the house that I want to achieve on that block of land for that value, and then they go, okay, it's not going to work, then I'm having to flip it on, so I'm paying real estate fees and then having to do something else, which then will incur more stamp duty. If they come to us and they say, look, this is our overall budget, this is the area that we want to live, and we can help them look for a property that's going to be suitable for a knockdown and rebuild, that's going to fit their budget for the land and for the build. So before they put their hand up at an auction or put an offer in, they know that they're going to have a positive outcome through it. They're going to get a home that they can afford. It's just a matter of the ability for you to actually be able to find a plan that you're not going to have to make a compromise on, and sometimes it's quite difficult. And a company like ourselves, we can either start from scratch and do a customised build for you, otherwise we can modify a pre-designed home as well. For us, if you have a picture of a house of a style that you like and you need a 4-bedroom home, we would make the house look like the way that you want it and achieve, the 4 bedrooms and put everything in its right place in relation to orientation for son, how they want to live in the property. And therefore, on this block of land for the house that I want, it's going to cost me X amount of money before you even purchase it. The best thing that they can do is actually have a design brief for them, itemise all the things that they want to include as part of it. Driveways, air conditioning, anything that they deem is specific for their design that they really want to incorporate as part of their home, identify all of that. So whoever they're talking with, look, this is the items that we want to include as part of it. So whatever information comes back to them in regard to pricing, it's going to be relevant to what they want. There's not going to be 4 or 5 different specifications from different companies, and they can't compare apples with apples because everyone has different ideas of what they want to include as part of it. Generally, people want to tell clients, they when they're talking to project builders, they want to hear that people actually want to see the cheapest price, but it may not necessarily be the case for a particular client. Generally people don't want the cheapest home. They want something that's going to suit their requirements and their needs. So there's no point at providing them a price that's not going to be relevant to the end result, because if it's different and it doesn't match their budget, nothing happens. So if they know that, and then they have to make a decision on whether their budget is relevant for what they get, or they have to change their expectations to suit it. Mm-hmm. And that's where people need to get. And a lot of times in the industry it does sometimes have a bad name because people's expectations aren't set correctly, and there's a lot of sort of smoke and mirrors with advertising and things like that, like how you said, all these sort of hidden extras as part of it. And this is the way of minimising is having a very well written contract and making sure there's no omissions within that. And generally people don't know what is excluded or things where they're going to be exposed, and where they see items like PC sums, which are prime cost sums, which are essentially allowances for a particular item. Generally they would have them for a kitchen or a vanity or something like that. If the contract is filled with those, then it's essentially you could be open for quite substantial amount of variations as we go through the project. And people think builders like variations. We hate them because it slows the process down. It causes confusion during the construction. So the more things that are nailed down and finalised before you sign the contract, the better the process is going to be.
I'm here today with Jeremy Spencer. He's the director of Melbourne-based sustainable design and building firm, Positive Footprints. Thanks for being with us, Jeremy.
No problem at all, Carlos.
Fantastic. So we're talking today about the Marion House. This is a lightweight home which has achieved a 7.5-star energy efficiency rating, and it's also said to use 50% less energy than the average 5-star home. So I guess, Jeremy, can you just take us through what are the key sustainable features of this home and what sets it apart from perhaps other sustainable homes?
Well, this house is a really great example of passive solar design and putting together all the principles. It's got north to the front, first of all, which can pose a bit of a challenge normally, in that you don't necessarily want to put your biggest rooms or your biggest windows to the front for privacy reasons. So this house, the front has been sort of set back in an L shape to make a sun trap facing to the east, and then it's got high clerestory windows that bring that light deep into the house. And then further into the house, it's got internal windows that allow that northern sunlight right to the rear southern areas of the house. So it keeps that north aspect right to the dark rooms in the back, which of course are now no longer dark because the sun shines on them. That's the one aspect. The other thing makes use of Melbourne's beautiful sea breezes that come from the south. So it's got an uninterrupted breeze path that blows across the living areas in summer. And to enhance this effect, it's got a inverted alfresco area at the back with perspex cover, which actually funnels that sea breeze into the house, concentrates it, so you get a faster airflow going through the house. It also that area also doubles as a drying area, so clothes can be dried out there during summer, and then you get a sort of a passive evaporative cooling effect of the breeze blowing through those clothes, then through the house. What else can I say? Thermal mass throughout the house is from polished concrete floor, and the roof itself is sloped up to those clerestory windows that I mentioned before, so that at night time in particular, if there is no breeze, because you need to cool that slab floor during night in summer, if there is no breeze, you can induce one by opening the highlight windows, and then the warmer air will rise up. It will move along the sloped roofs up to the highest point and out those clerestory windows. And then if you've opened up some of the external windows, cooler night air is then drawn into the house to replace that. That moves across the slab, heats up, rises up, goes out the clerestory windows, and basically creates a cycle which over the course of an 8-hour night, or 12-hour night, will cool the house down.
Okay, Jeremy Spencer, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.